This week's portion, Chukat, from the book of Numbers, begins with one of the most unusual commandments pertaining to sacrifices in the entire Torah. The whole process of ritual purification is a very unusual one in modern times. But in ancient times, there was considered to be this aspect of something that can convey ritual impurity to people. And one of the most common was blood. If blood flowed from the body, man or woman, it would make the person impure, and until the person became ritually purified, whatever they touched would become impure as well. The highest or most stringent form of ritual impurity is the corpse. And so even being under a tent with a dead body, and a tent is wide open on all sides, even being in the same air as the deceased, makes one ritually impure. And so if we read chapter 19 of the book of Numbers, we find this very elaborate and very complicated formula for becoming purified after such contact with the deceased. And so to convey the difficulty in understanding fully this law, the rabbis put into the mouths of the other nations and even Satan a criticism of this law. In other words, if we read the comment from the most famous of all commentators, Rashi, he begins his comment by saying, "The accuser and the other nations of the world have criticized this portion." So it's a beautiful and wonderful way for the rabbis to say, instead of we are criticizing this and asking questions, we're putting that criticism into somebody else's mouth. And then they try to answer the question. And so the interpretation of this portion is a difficult one. The acceptance of the law and the unusual nature of the law is difficult, and the rabbis reflect that difficulty in how they put it into the mouths of others. It's important to criticize the Torah, to interpret the Torah, but at the same time to understand that, as the rabbis did, that it's all from God, and we have to do our best to try to understand what God wanted us to follow and wanted us to know. And the portion Chukat is a classic example of that. Shabbat Shalom.